morning, Miss Callan with Ship here, and today we're going to make a fun recipe called Trail Bites. And this is almost like a little peanut butter cookie that you don't have to bake in the oven. So you can cook along with me or find out how to do it now and try it another time. So let's see what ingredients we have. We are going to be using some peanut butter or other kinds of nut butter, and that goes into protein, right? And we're going to be using some nuts. I've got some pecans here, but you could use lots of different kinds of nuts or peanuts. And it also goes right into protein. Good job. And we're going to be using some oats. What food group do you think oats goes into? Did you guess grains? Great job. And then we're going to add some dried fruit. So raisins could work. And of course, dried fruit goes into fruit. So we've got 3 food groups. We have a couple other ingredients too. You could use some shredded coconut or some chocolate chips. Well, shredded coconut is also in the protein group, and chocolate chips, do they fall into this food group list? I don't think so. I think they're a sometimes food. Well, we have one other sometimes food too. We're going to add a little bit of honey to help stick it together. So what else do we need to make this? We need a bowl for mixing. We need some measuring cups and spoons if you have them. If not, that's okay. You can still do this. And we need a spoon for mixing and a spatula to help us scoop ingredients. And if we're using nuts and we want to break them up into small pieces, something to mash the nuts with. A can like this can work. And then a plate to put them on. And that's it. The first thing we have to do is wash our hands. So we're going to get our hands wet, grab soap, suds up, and wash for the time it takes to sing happy birthday twice, then rinse. The second thing we have to do is wash our fruits and vegetables. Cooking is a great time to practice your math. Math is so useful when it comes to cooking. The recipe that you have is pretty big. Right here today, we're going to make half a recipe. That means we're going to take all of the ingredients and the amounts and divide them in half into 2 parts. We're going to start with our oats. And instead of adding 1 cup, I'm going to add half a cup. I'm going to take a half a cup because there are 2 half cups in 1 whole cup. Since we're dividing the recipe in half, I'm going to add half a cup of oats. Next, we're going to add the peanut butter or nut butter. So our recipe asks for 3/4 cup. That's like a half cup and a 1/4 cup. But we are going to use a little bit more than 1/3 of a cup. That will be about half. I'm going to actually use a mixture. I've got some peanut butter and I've got some sunflower seed butter, and I even have a little of this tahini or sesame paste. Okay, there's my heaping 1/3 cup of peanut butter and other nut butters. Cooking is also a great time to practice your estimating skills. So if you don't have 1/3 of a cup, you could estimate about 1/3 of a whole cup. And so there would be 3 1/3 cups in a whole cup. Or you could just estimate about how much peanut butter you think it is. That will work fine for this recipe. Now we're going to add the nuts. I have some pecans here, but you can use lots of different kinds of nuts. Peanuts would be great, or walnuts, or hazelnuts, or cashews, or sunflower seeds. So the recipe asks for half a cup, but we're doing half a recipe. So we're going to use a 1/4 cup. There are 2 1/4 cups in 1 half cup. Now, we have to break these nuts up into little pieces for our recipe. We have a couple ways we can do this. We can smash them with a cooking mallet. We can grind them in a mortar or pestle, or we can mash them up with a heavy can like this one, which is full of beans. So I'm going to try this method. That worked really well. So let's add our 1/4 cup of nuts right in. Now it's time to add the dried fruit. So the recipe asks for a 1/4 cup, and going to add half of a quarter cup. Half of a quarter cup is 2 tablespoons. If you don't have a measuring tablespoon, you can just use one of the bigger spoons in your drawer, this one, and put 2 spoonfuls in. That'll be fine. I'm going to use some raisins and some cranberries. So now I'm going to put in either some chocolate chips or some shredded coconut. And I've got some shredded coconut here. So I'm going to put in just a couple of spoonfuls of shredded coconut. That'll give it a nice flavor. And then we need some honey to help stick it together. Instead of using a whole tablespoon, I'm going to use half a tablespoon of honey. I'm going to fill my tablespoon about halfway. This will help stick everything together. You could use something else sticky too, like maybe some maple syrup or agave syrup. Now we're ready to start mixing it up with a spoon. Do you mind getting your hands dirty when you cook? If you do, you could keep mixing it with a spoon. But it'll be a little easier if we can get our hands into the dough, and we'll mix it almost like we're kneading bread. All right, great job. Now it's time to roll up our trail bites into little balls. So squeeze your dough together and see if it is sticky enough. If it's really dry, then you can add a little bit more peanut butter. And if it's really gooey, you can add a little bit more oats. Scoop up a little bit of your dough and mush it together, and then you can roll it around in your hands kind of gently and just keep rolling it. And don't push too hard or it might kind of fall right back apart, but you'll end up with a nice smooth ball. And you can make these any size. You can make them big or small. What other ingredients could we have added to this recipe? What if we wanted to add some breakfast cereal? That might be fun. You could crunch it up with the can too, so it's not in big chunks. How about some cinnamon? There's lots of kinds of dried fruit you could add. Chopped up apricots or prunes, or maybe some dried cherries, dried blueberries. Oh, what if we added some vanilla? That would really make them taste like cookies. There you go, there's your trail bites. You can try them right now, but you can keep the rest of them in the fridge for a couple of weeks and pull a couple out each day for a snack. Great job! See you next time.